Furious world leaders are abandoning Donald Trump. They are putting him in his place. They are calling him out in public. For example, retired French General Nicolas Rochot said the following about Donald Trump. Trump shot himself in the foot regarding his disastrous war in Iran. He wanted to invade a European country, Greenland, not too long ago before invading Iran. And now his old friends, who he didn't consult, who he scorned, especially the British, are telling him, guess what, Donald? We're not with you anymore. And this retired French general says, hey, Donald, go F yourself. Let me just play you this video so you can hear it for yourself. Let's play it.
So listen, I'm gonna respond a bit prematurely. He really shot himself in the foot with that. He wanted to invade a country of the European Union, Greenland, some time ago, and now his old friends, whom he didn't consult, whom he openly despised, especially the British. You know, he said,
Jean-Marie Foubert, he is much too kind.
So if you push me, then here we are. Well, now he needs us. Well, he can just go fuck himself, frankly.
Just a moment. You're really overdoing it now. So you brought this all upon yourself.
Now we have world leaders across the globe speaking out against Donald Trump. You have the president of Taiwan calling out Donald Trump for not defending Taiwan or for looking very weak. Taiwan increasingly concerned that this ongoing Iran war is rapidly depleting key U.S. missile stockpiles, which would be critical in a potential conflict with China. The Financial Times reports the heavy use of Tomahawk cruise missiles, air defense interceptors as well in the Middle East are depleting what Taiwan believed that it needed if China makes a move on Taiwan. But let's just face it, folks, at this point, you'll hear from the United States military things like, oh, we're still going to provide the financial support to Taiwan, or, oh, we've got their back. They're going to say those things. But when it comes to Donald Trump seems to be focused on helping Putin, helping Xi Jinping, and helping Iran, frankly, right? Donald Trump just gave Iran a $14 billion gift by removing oil sanctions on Iran. And Iran was mocking Donald Trump the whole way for doing it. They're like, thanks, Donald. We really appreciate the gift. Thank you for all that you're doing. Remember when Donald Trump and MAGA would mock former President Obama for entering into the nuclear deal that made Iran stop its uranium enrichment program? And they were like, oh, the Obama put these, plane full of cash. Look, at most, Obama's deal had like $1.4 billion to Iran, which was kind of couched as kind of reparation style payments, whatever. You could be critical of it, whatever you want to be. It stopped Iran from enriching uranium, and there was a stable deal in place that the nations, that Arab nations supported, that the world supported, and that there was a very serious inspection regime. Donald Trump got rid of that deal in Donald Trump's first term. And now Donald Trump just gave Iran $14 billion as a gift. I mean, just go figure, right? And now Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz, and they control it so powerfully and strongly that they created a toll. So if countries like India and others want to utilize it, they have to now pay Iran millions of dollars. And Iran now is also saying if you want to use the Strait of Hormuz, you have to do it in the Chinese currency, the yuan. And this can also weaken the dollar even more by forcing the Chinese currency to be used through the Strait of Hormuz. Just an interesting thing to note, the people of Japan were furious at Prime Minister Takaishi's appearance in the United States last week. Remember when Donald Trump was like doing jokes about Pearl Harbor, and Prime Minister Takaishi didn't stand up for the people of Japan and let kind of Donald Trump say, oh, well, I didn't tell Japan about what was going on before we attacked Iran because Japan is full of surprises. Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor, Takaishi? You should have told me about that. Also, the White House posted these photos of Takaishi where she was like Just say they were not flattering photos of her as the official photos. And the people of Japan were like, you just made a fool of yourself, Takaishi. And also, like, when Donald Trump walked her through that like ridiculous wall of fame or whatever Donald Trump calls it, where it's photos of different American presidents, and Donald Trump like writes the text as though he's like their Truth Social post, and like he mocks Obama and he mocks Clinton and he mocks the presidents he doesn't like. And then for former President Biden, who was great to the people of Japan, great to the people of Asia. I mean, Biden was strong when it came to Asia. Donald Trump replaced the photo of Biden, or put a photo. He created this wall of fame in the first place, but used an auto pen instead of former President Biden's actual portrait. And then Prime Minister Takaishi would like laugh at it. And then I'll just tell you what the founder of Channel 2 in Japan says about Takaishi laughing at Trump's auto pen picture of Biden. It was a sycophantic move, joining in the bullying just to be liked by the bully. Such vulgar behavior is being reported even internationally here. And I'll just share this with you. This is a protest. Japanese people out and about in front of Japan's Diet, their parliament. 82% of the people oppose the war in Japan right now. And take a look at these protesters outside protesting the prime minister's appearance and war right now, and basically protesting the United States. Here, play this clip right here. Now, just thinking about the arbitrary and capriciousness nature of Donald Trump, his recklessness, his maliciousness, just look at this timeline. This is a timeline from yesterday over the last 36 hours. So Friday at 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time, Donald Trump says, I don't want to do a ceasefire with Iran. Friday, 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time, the U.S. is considering winding down the war with Iran. Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Axios reports Donald Trump is planning peace talks. Then a few hours later, Donald Trump writes, if Iran doesn't open the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours, the U.S. will obliterate Iran's power plants, as the Kobayashi letter says. So what the hell is happening behind the scenes here? It's what's happening in front of the scenes. Donald Trump is a demented maniac. He's a crazy human being. Okay, he's an actual lunatic. And I don't want to use words that are maybe callous and are reflective of mental health issues or degrading. So I want to be careful with the words that I use. But Donald Trump is a sick human being. I mean, malignant, narcissistic sociopath. And his decision-making tree makes bad decisions into terrible decisions, into catastrophic decisions, into bankruptcies, right? This is why Donald Trump has bankrupted so many of his businesses throughout his life. Over and over again, he continues to bankrupt businesses. I want to pivot for a second, though, because we can continue talking about all these countries that are just kind of isolating and mocking Donald Trump. We can talk, of course, about how the UK and France and all of NATO said, no way, Donald, we're not doing any offensive missions in the Strait of Hormuz. Go away, Donald. We can talk about how the head of Qatar Energy and lots of other business leaders in the Middle East are saying what a betrayal that Donald Trump did. I mean, Donald Trump has set the Middle East back 20, 30 years. I mean, that's coming from the CEO of Qatar Energy. They all thought they were buying protection from Donald Trump, pay for play schemes. Trump just, if the war were to end today, okay, it will probably take 20 years to build back what has been destroyed. So generationally, this has destroyed. So we destroyed the Middle East. So we could talk about all these countries live it, and just think also how a lot of these like Middle Eastern investors would put their money into American startups and American IPOs and American companies as well, right? They ain't going to do that anymore. So this is going to have a long-standing effect. Oh, in addition to the price of oil, which continues to surge right now, and the markets that continue to crash, and Bitcoin is crashing. Just think about as well, helium, fertilizer. Think about fertilizer next year, right? A lot of the fertilizer has already technically been purchased. Will it even arrive? What happens next year? These are issues that are systemic, that even if the war stopped, this cascading effect will likely cause economic catastrophes across the globe. But this war is obviously going to continue on. So we could talk about that. But
winter hibernation is over and it's time for some of that spring cleaning. But when it comes to the scent of your laundry, it shouldn't smell like the same thing you use to disinfect your bathroom. Enter Laundry Sauce, the premium scented laundry pods that don't just clean your clothes, they elevate them. Say goodbye to that stale, overused detergent scent, and hello to luxurious, fine fragrance freshness that lasts. Imagine stepping outside on the perfect spring morning with your clothes smelling like Australian sandalwood, Italian bergamot, or Egyptian rose. Laundry Sauce isn't just about smelling incredible. It's engineered for performance. These highly concentrated pods are packed with the cleaning power of bioenzymes that obliterate stains from muddy hikes, backyard barbecues, and that inevitable iced coffee spill. And because spring is all about fresh starts, they revive fabrics, making your favorite pieces look and feel brand new. For a limited time only, our listeners get 20% off your entire order when you use code MeidasTouch at laundrysauce.com. That's 20% off your order at laundrysauce.com with promo code MeidasTouch. 90% of customers now love Laundry Day because of Laundry Sauce. Turn your least favorite chore into a self-care ritual. Maybe the best part about Laundry Sauce, they offer a full money-back guarantee. If you don't get better smelling, cleaner laundry, you get a full refund, no questions asked. For a limited time only, our listeners get 20% off your entire order when you use code MeidasTouch at laundrysauce.com. That's 20% off your order at laundrysauce.com with promo code MeidasTouch. After your purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that MeidasTouch sent you. It's time to make Laundry Day the best day of the week.
what else is Donald Trump and his despicable regime doing? As I said, they're helping Iran make billions of dollars. They're also helping Russia a lot. This is not really getting reported that much, but we need to report on it here, of course, that right now there is CPAC Hungary taking place. So the Conservative Political Action Committee, the big kind of right-wing MAGA group, they throw these conventions where they try to hoist up their Russian sycophants and their kind of MAGA Russia anti-European Union crew in the different European countries in order to help Putin. So they're doing right now a CPAC Hungary, where Netanyahu's son is a speaker. In the past week, Marco Rubio was there. A video address played yesterday of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. They did these video messages supporting Viktor Orban, the Putin puppet that's in Hungary, who basically is put there to destroy the European Union. By the way, it's the professed foreign policy of the United States Trump regime to destroy the European Union and to destroy pro-democracy groups in the European Union. Also, it was reported yesterday in the Washington Post that Russia was working with Viktor Orban to stage an assassination attempt in order to boost him before the April elections. No attack happened, but a European intelligence service obtained the report that Russia was working to stage a fake assassination attempt of Orban to help his poll numbers. There's a big election that's about to take place in a few weeks. It's coming up pretty quickly in Hungary, where the pro-democracy leader is expected to beat Orban. The pro-democracy party is in the lead right now, and getting rid of Orban would be a huge victory and a huge blow to Vladimir Putin. So Trump is putting out all the stops to try to help Orban. Lots of people are worried that with the kind of current war taking place in the Middle East, with Russia's with Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the war raging on there, that Orban may try to provoke a war with Zelensky in Ukraine in order to stop the elections. Pay very close attention to the things that Hungary is saying, because Hungary is accusing Ukraine of trying to go to war with it. Not the people of Hungary, Orban, who's basically being advised right now by Putin on every step of the way. Dan Shapiro also writes, in this Washington Post story on the Russian intelligence plot to stage an assassination attempt of Viktor Orban to boost his chances in Hungary's upcoming elections. Think about this paragraph. Russia is not the only outside power potentially looking to prop up Orban in one of the toughest campaigns of his career. Secretary of State Marco Rubio visited Budapest last month, telling Orban that your success is our success. And Orban has made no secret that he hopes Trump will do the same. But with Trump consumed by the war in Iran and Orban behind in the polls, Hungarian's foreign minister said that Vice President J.D. Vance will be visiting instead. And Netanyahu's kid is visiting as well. Yair is in Hungary attending CPAC. Here's the message, by the way, that Donald Trump sent to the Hungary CPAC yesterday. I'll show you this clip right here so you can see for yourself. Let's play it.
A very big hello to CPAC Hungary. Congratulations to CPAC Chairman Matt Schlapp, as well as the Chairman of CPAC Hungary, Mikolos Sento, on this historic fifth gathering in the magnificent city of Budapest. It's a great place and a great country. I also want to send my best wishes to Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who I am endorsing, as you know. I am endorsing his election, which is coming up pretty soon. He has my complete and total endorsement, as a matter of fact. The Prime Minister has been a strong leader who's shown the entire world what's possible when you defend your borders.
Also, Belarus's Alexander Lukashenko, a Putin puppet, says that Donald Trump just invited him to Mar-a-Lago to discuss a, quote, big deal with the U.S. As Max Sedan explains, this would presumably bring his country in from the cold after years of sanctions. And we know that the Trump regime has removed a lot of sanctions on Belarus businesses recently as well. As Gary Kasparov explains, lifting sanctions on Lukashenko's Kremlin puppet regime is effectively lifting sanctions on Russia. And of course, this is exactly the point. In my year of tweeting, only Trump can save Russia, this is what I meant right here. We should also talk about how yesterday, Zelensky's still showing up, even though we know that Witkoff and Kushner are Putin sycophants, in my opinion. So there were discussions yesterday between Kushner and Witkoff and Zelensky. Zelensky wrote the following: "Today, our team met with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner in the United States. This is important for the whole world. Diplomacy continues, and we are working to end Russia's war against Ukraine. No one wants this war. The teams will continue discussions tomorrow. The key issue to understand is how ready Russia is to move towards a real end to the war, honestly and with dignity, especially now when geopolitical tensions have increased due to the situation around Iran. A more detailed report from our team will follow." And here is Witkoff's remark, Donald Trump's lackey, real estate guy who was never a diplomat, who's now screwing up all of our international negotiations. But, you know, he's a Trump sycophant. So, I mean, this is what he and Trump do. They're destroyers. Witkoff writes, "Today in Florida, U.S. and Ukrainian delegations held constructive meetings as part of ongoing mediation efforts, with discussions focused on narrowing and resolving remaining items to move closer to a comprehensive peace agreement. The American delegation included Envoy Witkoff, Kushner, Senior Advisor Josh Grunbaum, and State Department Senior Policy Advisor Chris Curran. We welcome the continued engagement toward resolving the outstanding issues, recognizing its importance to broader global stability, and thank Trump for his continued leadership in advancing these efforts." Should also be noted that Abu Ubaida, the military spokesperson for the Qassam brigades, says the following: "We look with great pride at the powerful missile strikes carried out by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard this evening, targeting areas deep within the criminal entity using new tactics which left dozens of dead and wounded." There wasn't dozens of dead, but there were over 100 injured in these Iranian strikes that were able to hit these two cities in southern Israel. And, you know, as Donald Trump and everyone's like, oh, we've degraded Iran's capabilities. It really isn't the case. Dimona, which is the area, southern Israel, where there's like the Israeli nuclear facilities, that area was hit. Arad was hit. ARAD, 150, 200 injuries took place. And Iran is feeling confident right now that they have the ability to strike Israel and its neighbors with impunity. Donald Trump claims, oh, we've decimated them, but we know they're not decimated. And you're starting to now see a lot of these Iranian proxies, like I just shared with you there, the leader of the Houthis as well, saying we're ready to shut down the strait in the Red Sea. So the Strait of Hormuz is Persian Gulf. There's a separate strait in the Red Sea. You shut down the Red Sea with the Persian Gulf already effectively being shut down. It's game, set, match. We're talking $200 per barrel of oil right there. And meanwhile, you have Iranian leaders just basically mocking Donald Trump and his regime. The parliament leader of Iran, MB Ghalibaf, responds to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent lifting sanctions against Iran. And Ghalibaf from Iran goes, lifting sanctions on Iranian oil currently stranded at sea? Sorry, we're sold out. In addition, he was mocking the Trump regime and saying, and mocking Israel and saying, if the Israeli regime fails to intercept the missiles in the highly protected Dimona area, it is operationally a sign of entering a new phase of battle. Israeli skies are defenseless. As a result, it seems the time has come to implement the next pre-designed plans. And while they're saying that, Donald Trump is like, I'm giving you a 48-hour ultimatum right here, that if you don't, if Iran doesn't fully open without the threat, the Strait of Hormuz, within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first, right? To which Iran says, okay, well, you do that. Then we're going to go after all of the nearby power plants as well. So Donald Trump makes that threat. Iran's head of their military responds and says, following previous warnings, if Iran's fuel and energy infrastructure is attacked by the enemy, all energy information technology, all desalination infrastructure belonging to the U.S. and the regime in the region will be targeted, meaning all the Arab nations that have American bases will be hit. And so things are escalating. They're getting out of control. You're seeing how world leaders are responding. Let me know what you think about all of this. Hit subscribe. Help us get to 7 million subscribers. And thanks so much.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.